The football club will complete the deal for Ryan Gravenberch from Bayern Munich for around 40 million euros. The medicals will complete, but they are seen as a formality. The deal will be done. He will become a Liverpool player and a massive reinforcement to the midfield that Jurgen Klopp desperately desires, a highly talented player. As a Man United fan, I wanted us to get him. We haven't been able to get that deal over the line. Liverpool have. So I have to congratulate them on signing such a quality player in Ryan Gravenberch. It hurts a little bit, but it doesn't mean I'm going to change my opinion on the player. He is quality. Now, I still think they need more in the midfield in terms of the DM position. Is Endo going to be enough? I know Liverpool fans are screaming out for more investment, more of that £170 million worth of bids that went in for Lavia and Caicedo. But maybe more is to come between now and the end of the window. The core, is that still an option? Or are they looking to do something a little bit different that maybe we as fans have not quite seen as of yet? But Liverpool have signed Ryan Gravenberch this summer. The deal will go through. And I believe, I just want to make sure I read this information correct. I don't want to get this wrong. So wait, my screen is loading up in front of me right now. By the way, hit like buttons while you're waiting and make sure you subscribe to the Football Terrace. He comes in for a fee of, I'm just waiting for it to load, 40 million euros. And I think for a 21-year-old, I know he's had a poor year. I know he's had a poor year in Germany. But I think 40 million euros is a good, solid piece of business for Liverpool. I really do. It's a good, solid piece of business for Liverpool Football Club. He's a highly talented player, good amount of athleticism. He's strong. He's technically very gifted as well. And I believe that sometimes in life, players make poor moves. Sometimes in life, players make the wrong decisions. And Gravenberch joining Bayern Munich could very much be that. What he's doing that's smart, he isn't staying there for another 2 or 3 years to stagnate. Oh, maybe this year will be my year and get worse and worse. He's moving on very quickly, which gives him, in my opinion, a better opportunity of rejuvenating his career and getting back to the standards that everybody saw during his time at Ajax. I think Liverpool fans could be very excited about this deal. I really do think they can be excited about it, and it could be one. And they don't often do this, Bayern Munich, but it could end up being a deal that Bayern Munich regrets allowing to happen in the near future, especially if Jurgen Klopp can get him cooking, performing, and delivering back to his brilliant best. It really will end up being a very, very good piece of business here. What Fabrizio Romano has said about this deal is that it's 40 million euros plus 5 million of add-ons, 5-year deal. He will fly to Liverpool this evening. Agreements already in place. Medical tests, of course, have to be booked. The deal was negotiated, it says here, by Jose Fortes Rodriguez from Raiola. Okay, part of Riola's camp. I assume when he says Raiola, that means Mino Raiola's agency that I know he's not around anymore. Obviously, still, I assume that's what that means. I don't know. I'm just reading out his tweet there. But Liverpool fans, let me know what you think. Let me give me your opinions on this deal. And as I say, look, it's one of the players that my manager wanted. We haven't had the money to go after both him and Amrabat. We had to prioritize Amrabat. And Gravenberch essentially has said, I'm tired of waiting. A few weeks ago, Santi told us that he preferred Manchester United. I think he may have done for a while. But Liverpool are a massive club, still with a huge amount of pull. And I think he's got to a point where he said, well, I don't think Man United are coming in for me now. So he said, bye-bye. I don't want Man United anymore. I want to go and play for Liverpool. And it's a decision that rests upon the shoulders of the Man United board. I am frustrated about it, but I'm not going to do the typical rival thing and now start looking for holes in him. I thought he'd be an asset for us, and I believe he'll be that asset for Liverpool as well. Let's have a little look at your comments here. Yes, it is Riola's team. There we go. I thought so. Why didn't Man United pay the 40 million fee considering it's 40 million? Because the club isn't sanctioning any more spending of that magnitude. We are trying, because we haven't sold McTominay, we haven't sold Maguire, there's a couple of others that we haven't got rid of and raised additional funds. The board are not sanctioning any more deals. That is why we're trying to get Amrabat cheap. It's why we're looking for a loan replacement for Luke Shaw that's going to be out for about 10 weeks minimum, they say, with this muscle injury, because the Glazers are not giving the manager any more money. They are cheating the process. We know that already. McAllister, Grav, Nunes, Gakpo, Thiago, did they all reject United for Liverpool? the club need a centre-back now to compete with Virgil and a backup right-back. I don't know if Man United were ever in for Thiago in that summer, as far as I'm aware. But McAllister as well, Man United, as far as I'm aware, didn't go in for him. I know that some reports have said that he did. But again, Will, I'm very happy to say they all did, as long as Liverpool fans admit that Chelsea have more pull than them. And they got rejected for those two players. I think we have to, if we're going to say that everything's a rejection when you're linked, then you have to take your own L's. I can take it. It's certain other people that can't. Gravenberch, Wijnaldum replacement, finally. Yeah, I think he's a very different football player to Wijnaldum. I don't think he has the same level of athleticism that Wijnaldum did, the same speed, but I do think he is potentially a better technical football player than Wijnaldum. But I've seen Gravenberch play a lot less than I've seen Wijnaldum play, but different style of player, but could be the replacement. Remember, Michael Carrick was Roy Keane's replacement, even though they're very different players stylistically. Agree player sales have been poor. Maguire still at United makes no sense. Well, it does make sense. It makes sense because nobody wants to buy him. And instead of the ownership taking the loss and still reinvesting more money into the team, they're not taking the loss and they're not giving us money. So the manager ends up having his nose cut off because of the Glazers. The reason why I'm happy that my manager isn't out here slagging off my players, sticking them in the reserves and trying to force them out is because you'll drive that price down lower, which means even less money will be given to him for replacements by the Glazers, meaning we'll be in a worse situation. And listen, all clubs have their problems. All clubs have their problems, and lots of you have issues with your owners. And what you need your managers to do, not every time, but some of the time, is manage those situations as opposed to moaning about everything. And that's a life lesson for everybody. If you go through your life refusing to do things because you don't like them, you'll never progress. Sometimes you have to grin and bear it. Sometimes you have to take one for the team. Sometimes you have to make the best of a bad situation. And that's what the position Man United are in, whether we like it or not. You know, we can bring managers in that call it out and then they get sacked. And then what happens? They just bring in another puppet, according to the people that say they should be called out. And therefore, you just go back in the same cycle. Remember, the Man United fans will do nothing to get the owners out because they could have done that for 17, 18 years and they've done nothing. So, yeah, that's the position that they are in. 18 months wanted Caicedo. Let's not pretend. Yeah, look, Liverpool fans, I still think are disappointed overall with their summer. As good as Gravenberch is, I still think they are disappointed with their summer overall. And I get it, I respect it, and I understand it. And I make them absolutely right. They should be frustrated with their summer. They still need a centre-back. They still need a right-back. And I still think they need a DM. However, in isolation, looking at Gravenberch, very, very good piece of business. Terry's anti-Liverpool bias. So again, I'm not too sure how it's anti-Liverpool bias. What have I said that's anti-Liverpool? I've praised the signing. I said it's good business. I'm happy to accept Man United got rejected. I think it'll be good for you. I think he'll fit in. I think that Bayern Munich will reject it. It's brilliantly priced. Tell me what element of that JT24 is anti-Liverpool. Like, if you honestly, I'll make you this bet. I will pay your mortgage or your rent for a year if you can explain how that is anti-Liverpool. Explain it to me, and I will just pay the money for your rent tonight. Come on now. What more do you want me to say in terms of praise there? Nah, Terry, people are overreacting a bit, though. Explain that for me, Montana. I need you to delve in deeper. On Gravenberch and Endo can play DM. Terry, what the F? Yeah, I don't think Gravenberch is a top class DM. I don't think that's his role. I think he's more box to box, as opposed to being a quality player that sits. Endo might be the guy. And if Endo ends up being brilliant, I'll come back to this and say, listen, I got it wrong. You didn't need a DM. You had Endo, perfect, with Bajcetic as the backup. Gravenberch, I don't actually see as being a very good DM. That's just my opinion. We can agree to disagree. I don't think that's being anti-Liverpool, though. But yeah, maybe. Terry, why do you love starting United getting rejected narratives whenever you know it's not true? Very strange. It's not about, again, what's popping B. What's popping here, B, is, again, I don't care. I'm willing to go, yep, great, we were rejected. What I find hilarious about it, you're missing the subtlety of my sarcasm. What I find hilarious is whenever someone signs a player, when anyone sees their club sign a player, they go, oh, he rejected you, and you. But when it's the other way around, they look for every nook and cranny and excuse why it's not a rejection. I find that hilarious. So I let people just say it so that they admit their L's. I just love making them look silly. That's all it is. It doesn't really think about it. It doesn't really matter. Whether he did or he didn't reject us, think about it. How does our world change? Just roll on. Like, deep it. Why does it matter? Legitimately, deep it what's popping. It don't even matter. Like one little bit. It really doesn't. Any Arsenal deals incoming? Not of right now. We'll have some updates in the morning maybe, but yeah, nothing. I've been scaling the internet, reaching out to journalists, nothing as of right now. In terms of Manchester United, so as the title says, Amrabat and Reguilon done deals soon to Manchester United. Read the whole title before you comment. Both medicals have been booked in. Still waiting on a full agreement with Fiorentina, but there is a lot of confidence that deal will complete tomorrow. Reguilon has been given permission to come to Man United and have his medical. Man United will probably include him within the matchday squad for the Arsenal game, which is interesting. Amrabat, you know my opinion. He's a game-changing midfield player for Manchester United. With Casemiro already there, one of the best DMs in the world. Bruno Fernandes, one of the best creators in the world. We need someone that helps progress the ball with some more steel, with some more athleticism. And I think Amrabat does that in spades. I think he is going to be an exceedingly good addition to this squad. Whether he starts every game or not is completely irrelevant to me. He genuinely improves Manchester United in that way. Reguilon, look, it's interesting. I wanted Reguilon when we signed Alex Telles a few years ago. I actually thought Reguilon was pretty good year one at Tottenham. But if I was to choose between him and Cucurella, I would prefer Cucurella. Now, it looks as though this loan deal may only be until January because it looks as though Malassi is out for the next 10 to 12 weeks, plus Luke Shaw. So I understand why we need to go out now and loan somebody. And it may be a bit underwhelming. However, you have to look at it from the perspective of if Luke Shaw was fit today and we weren't looking at a left back, nobody would care. If he got injured after the transfer window and we had no one else available, we'd be panicking. And then at that point, you would take a Reguilon, you would take a Cucurella to come in and fill a gap because your two left backs are out injured. So for me, as much as I'm disappointed about this situation, having Reguilon as a makeshift backup because we've had our two left backs pick up medium to long-term injuries is better than having nobody that can play in that position. Equally, they're not going to go out and try and sign a new starter because both of those players are likely going to return. So, and this loan deal may only be until January, and that's why the Cucurella deal is a bit messed up because Cucurella could come on loan, but because he played a game for Chelsea in the Carabao Cup, if he comes to us on loan and goes back in January, Chelsea can't loan him out again because you can't play for three teams in one season. So that puts the stoppers on that deal because Man United right now don't want to loan a player for more than 6 months. So yeah, look, I'm not gassed about the Reguilon move, but I understand the need for it. I understand the need for it because of the situation that we are in. Terry clutching at straws. But it's not clutching at straws. Tell me what's wrong about what I've just said. Tell me what's wrong about what I just said. And then I'll agree. I didn't say I was gassed. I don't think it's a game changer for Man United. I don't think he's going to help us win the Premier League. But if we lost both our left backs after the transfer window and couldn't sign anybody, what do I think would be a better option? Reguilon coming in or no one? The answer is Reguilon being there. It's a body, it's an individual that can play in that position. Because look, if we then lose a Delo or a AWB to injury, then we've only got one fullback. So yeah, for me, I'm not, again, excited about it, but I'm not going to throw my toys out my pram because needs must in that circumstance. But there we go. But yeah, with the Amrabat deal, there was a comment that came in actually saying, Terry, which journalist said the medical's been booked? You don't need a medical to tell you that the medical's been booked. Transfer deadline day is tomorrow. So the medical has to happen before the paperwork's signed. Man United have medical spaces booked, ready for these deals if they go through. They'll already be booked because imagine you ring up and there's no space. So the medical center, it's already been booked out, it's ready to go. They're waiting for the deal to be complete. This isn't like 5 weeks ago. The medicals are everyone who's expecting to sign someone in the next 24 to 48 hours will have the medical centers and hospitals that the medicals are done at booked in, time slots done, people available to go at the drop of a hat. Because the last day or two of the window operates very differently and at a much faster pace than the weeks prior to it. So you don't need it to be confirmed by anybody. It's just a prerequisite of the situation. But there we go. Let's get some more of your comments that are coming through here. Bruno Fernandez is poo. Come on. Yep. Thank you, Luis Diaz. Thank you. Yeah, go on then. Pay my mortgage, Terry. It's the way you speak, saying he wanted United, but has chosen Liverpool. To be honest, even if he wanted United, they are a shambles and can't offer a packet of crisps. Well, this is the thing. That's not anti-Liverpool. All I did is quote to you what one of the most credible journalists on the planet, Santi, stated. So that isn't me making a claim that's anti-Liverpool. That's a story. And even when you listen to what David Ornstein has had to say, Man United prioritized Amrabat over him. And therefore, Gravenberch is now picking Liverpool because he doesn't want to wait any longer. And he wants to leave Bayern Munich and he wants to play in the Premier League. It is what it is. This has been put out by very credible journalists. That doesn't, me telling you what credible journalists have said can't be construed as Terry being anti-Liverpool, because that's strange. What if the most credible journalist in the world says something that you find negative about Liverpool, but I repeat it? That's not me being negative. That's me repeating their story. Like I've said, I'm gutted that you're getting him. How is me being upset and gutted that you're getting a player I wanted being anti-Liverpool? Being anti-Liverpool will be playing it down, looking for his weaknesses, saying it's a bad move. You know, he's a Bayern Munich flop. Bayern Munich don't sell players that are good. They only sell players that are overhyped or over the hill or finished or whatever it may be. So come on, my friend. Again, your mortgage is not being paid because you could not prove that I was being anti-Liverpool by repeating a story. And ironically, people want to quote the Ornstein story that he chose us over you, but you want to ignore Santi, who's highly credible. Picking and choosing stories again. That's not being anti-anything, but there we go. Let's have a little look here. No, he didn't say therefore. He says here, rejected United. Just admit it, Terry. Again, I'm not, listen, a man doesn't keep repeating himself. I've said it on the stream already. If you're saying he's rejected Man United, fair enough. I can take it on the chin. It doesn't affect my life. Well done. And congratulations. Here, this says we desperately needed a 6, but we will take it anyway. We needed some bodies in the midfield. Yeah, look, you definitely do need more in the midfield. You know, but Newcastle running through in that game on Sunday. Look, an Endo might still come good, but you definitely need more bodies in the midfield. There's no doubt about that at all, my friend. Arjan says Terry is a fraud. Well, thank you for tuning in and watching this fraud. I appreciate it, Arjan. Legend you are. You're a legend. You're a legend. Story time with Terry. No, it was a real story, an article. And that made me like, well, I remember when I shared that quote, because Santi didn't tweet it, it was in his article. I got told I made it up, which also proves that a lot of people, like I proved with Lee Gunner the other day, they're just headline readers. Their knowledge comes from headlines. Ten Hag said he's got full control. He didn't. He said he's part of a team, there's cooperation, but control's important. He never once uttered the words, I have full control. But the headline said that. Same in this case. Just relax a little bit, bro. It's fine. So many haters in the chat. No, listen, they don't hate you. Your haters don't turn up to watch you every day. Your haters love you. They do. And I love it as well. It's all a bit of fun. Is Amrabat genuinely coming? Amrabat, personal terms agreed for weeks, maybe even months now. It's been since June. The clubs are getting very, very close to an agreement. A loan is still an option. Remember, the Man United are looking to do a loan because the owners are not allowing the manager to spend more money. Because the ownership and the board, which is predominantly the ownership, have not been able to sell the players, lower the wage bill enough, and raise additional income through sales. And because of mismanagement of the last decade, we're running out of money. Not literally, there is money there, but we're running out of money that's being made available. So from the manager's point of view, we have no money. The club have money. The owners have money. They're not relinquishing it. Again, and I'm going to quote Liaz here, the Glazers are cheating the Man United rebuild and process. And it's a shame to see, but they consistently do this, and they have always done this to our managers. Like the Gravenberch buy, I hope we can get a centre-back before tomorrow night. I live in Copenhagen and support FC Copenhagen. Is that FC Copenhagen, I assume? Can't wait to see Man United play them. Also, you are a legend. Love your show. Thank you, brother. I appreciate the compliment. I do. And look, I think Liverpool, with all the money they've got still left, so they spent 40, so about 30 odd million on Gravenberch. What did Endo cost? Was it about 20 million pounds? That might even be more than I thought. Endo Liverpool deal. Let's Google it. What are they coming for? I want to say 20 million, but it could have even been cheaper than that. So I want to be really fair when I say this now. So I want to get my facts right. Blah 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 blah. Why is the website not telling me how much it cost? I'm going to go to all transfers. All transfers. Liverpool. Transfermarket.co.uk is literally the best website because they don't include add-ons either. I think it's a disgrace that media outlets add add-ons onto deals. It's ridiculous. How can you add that into the total spend that hasn't been bloody spent yet? 20 million euros, so cheaper pounds-wise, right? So it's 60, it'll be about 60 million euros for the pair. So what is that in pounds? Because obviously exchange rate changed. 60 million euros to GBP. Just want to work this out here. I want to get it accurate. So that's 51 million. So you've still got 60 million minimum available. Go buy Mark Guehi. Quality player. Klopp will get him to another level. It'll improve the defensive line, gives you that backup. Or go and get someone that can play centre back and right back. You need that. 110%. In terms of the overall midfield, how much have they spent on the midfield now this summer? So 70, 42, 20. Yeah, I mean, look, there's been a big investment in Liverpool's midfield. There's been a lot of money spent there in totality. So improvements are needed. There's no doubt about it. 35 million Amrabat low. I don't know what you mean by that. Elaborate, my friend. Elaborate. Let me guess. He'll announce to Liverpool and United fans will act like they never wanted him at the club and will call him a flop. Not me. I don't behave like that. Honestly, if I was Elon Musk and if I was the people that own Twitter and YouTube and everything, that kind of dead banter, I'd ban people for life. I think it's offensive. I think it's offensive to everybody else's intelligence, and it isn't funny. I don't get I don't get why it's funny. Maybe I'm boring and old, but I find it so horrible. It's like, oh, of course, I wanted Gravenberch, gutted he's going to Liverpool. You're signing a good player, but we move on. Arsenal have only made one signing, considering Havertz is a flop and Timber is out for 7 months. How are you breaking it down like that? How are you doing that? Come on now. Hi, Terry, all the way from Singapore. Man United is the only team who can lose a one-horse race. We fans are getting shambles from all sides. Elaborate on that. I don't know what you mean. I think I know what you mean, but I don't want to assume. Tell me what you mean by that, bro. Gravenberch never wanted United. Where are you getting that information from, Terry? I'm getting that information from Santi. You know, you all know who Santi is, right? One of the top journalists out there. I'll show you his article. And he's highly credible. This guy this guy must get his name mentioned by Fabrizio Romano 100 times a day. He said this maybe 3 weeks ago now. I don't quite remember the exact. I don't remember the exact. Let's have a little look here. See what he said. Got to go back. It's going to be a long way for me to find it. I've got to go back. I'll actually find you the article and I'll put it on the screen just so you can see it. Because I don't, again, one thing I don't do is lie. Because I typically don't, there's just no mileage in it, is there? Bear with me a second. Bear with me while I'll put it up on the screen for you. Show you. So Santi, I think his name is Arona. It's very, very credible, very, very credible journalist. Very, very credible indeed. Gravenberch. I can't spell his name now. I'll put United. I'm just searching it here for his tweet on it. Oh, it's taking forever. Why can't I find his name? It's because I spelled his name wrong. So you mongoose. What are you doing? Right. I've got to find the article now. It's going to take me forever, you know. Here it is from the 16th of August. It was here. So let me click onto the article now. I hope I ain't updated it and changed it. Yes, there we go. So see, I've translated it to English. Let me zoom in, and then I put it up on the screen for you. Just so you know that I'm not sitting here lying. Because again, if you guys have watched me long enough, you just know I don't do that. So this was his tweet here, and I'll put it up on the screen so you can all see. So this was the article that came out. When you scroll down and go through the article here, what it says here says that this week, Man United and Liverpool have reactivated. It says reactivate the track, but that's because I'm converting it from French into English here to the Dutch international player. For the moment, no offers have been made, but the player prefers to join the Red Devils in the event of a departure. That is what come from Santi all the way back when. So yeah, in my opinion, very credible journalist. Some of you may not think he's credible, but he most certainly is. Sorry about that. I don't know why the screen went weird. So yes, not making it up. It's there. Like, it is what it is. It is what it is. Fab said so too. Yeah, I think Fabrizio might have quoted him as well. But it is what it is. And time's changing. He's gone Liverpool, and that's it. And I can accept it. This is what I would say to you all. If you're going to accept that the media have said that he prefers Liverpool over Man United, why are you not accepting that a week ago, 2 weeks ago, the media said the opposite? You see what I mean by the hypocrisy? If you're going to take the media's word as the truth now, why are you ignoring the credible media's words from 2 weeks ago? I'm saying it changed. Well done, you. Why are you now claiming that it wasn't true back then? If you can say it wasn't true back then, I can say they're lying now to make the deal look better. Or we can all just be adults and go, yeah, that was the truth. Now this is the truth. It's changed. Like, think about it. Come on now. Let's stop being children. This is the football terrace. It's not, well, some of you might think it's a joke. There we go. But there we go. We have it. There we go. We have it. Terry Times is reliable. Listen, Santi's very, very reliable. 04 says fake news. No, it's receipts, bruv. I don't make these things up. I don't make them up. Ram's here with me now to have you say, how you doing, bruv? Gravenberch in 40 million euros. Happy with it? And is that enough for Liverpool, mate?
I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I am. Oh, God, he's going to be here.
Terry! Where's the midfielder, mate?
Bro. I wasn't too keen on Gravenberch. I think he was more of a player that you lot needed more than we did. I still maintain we needed a 6. I don't think he has the defensive nous at this moment to play as a 6. And I think what we're really buying is mainly potential. And it's all good. He's a very talented player, but it's whether he'll actually reach those levels. That's the main question that is expected of him. And I think if we're not going to get a DM, I think there were better options out there that were more or less a similar price range, if not a little bit more expensive. But I think they could have done a much better job, in my opinion. But this is someone that Jurgen Klopp and Pep Linders wanted, someone that they wanted last season as well. They've got that man. All I can do now is back the player and and hope that he does well for us. That's all I can do now. So, yeah.
JJ, you look a lot happier than Ram does about this deal.
I'm just happy because I just decided to be shameless today. United. We've been in the mud. We didn't have any pull. It seems that Ten Hag can't get his former player over the line. The Amrabat deal, I don't know what's going on. It's happened with Gakpo and Gravenberch now. So I just came to be scum. But in general, I agree with what Ram was saying. If I'm just being completely honest, like good. I think he's a good player. I think a lot of potential. When you look at the profile of player, especially from a stats perspective, he's very, very similar to Lavia. I mean, we've done it earlier with Ram. He's very, very similar to Lavia. So you can see why Liverpool have gone to go and get a player like that. Is that the player Liverpool really needed? I don't know. I feel like United and Liverpool, it's like their targets are the wrong way around. It's like we need a solid DM that can just sit, and that's what I would want. Anyway, that's what we're missing, or a lot of fans think we're missing. Klopp might not think the same. And obviously United fans are looking for that link from Casemiro to Mount or to Gravenberch or to the attack. And I feel like that's what Gravenberch is currently. But it seems as though you're not getting him. You're getting the defensive midfielder who can do that role to a certain extent, but I don't think to the level of obviously like a Gravenberch. So yeah, so we'll have to wait and see, man. We'll have to wait and see. But look, it's about a 6, 7 out of 10 for right now. If he comes in, becomes a worldy DM, then hey, like, I'll hold my hands up. But I think he's a very, very good 8. Look, you don't end up being 7 in the like 7th or top 10 in for the Golden Boy rankings as a midfielder if you're not good. I mean, you spoke about it in glowing terms as well, Terry. So yeah, man.
Yeah, listen, I get where you're coming from. There are United fans that think we shouldn't get Amrabat and should get Gravenberch. I wanted both. But as we've seen with my club, Glazonomics at play, they are not sanctioned. They're not even giving the money for Amrabat. They're trying to loan him for a year and pay next year. And again, this is owners that are worth billions and billions of pounds. They could pump £100 million in easy right now of their own money, buy both of them and ride off into the sunset. Do you know the most painful bit about this? And this is where the Glazers really upset me, is there's talk now that Fulham could come in and pay the £30 million for McTominay, which is what West Ham offered weeks ago and we said no to. So we end up accepting a bid now that we rejected a month ago. If we'd have had that money in for him and paid off Maguire with 7 million quid, we'd have raised an extra 60 million, which would have meant we could have gone and got Amrabat and Gravenberch well before you got involved and be away. And that's the problem with my football club. It's the execution of our deals, and they've done it now. 4 managers running, in my opinion. They pull the rug from underneath their feet so regularly. It's unbelievable. It's great for rivals and everything else. But in terms of the player, look, I think he's quality. I agree with you. I don't know if he's quite what you need in terms of a DM. Maybe Endo ends up being that guy. I still think when I look at Lavia as a player, he just, again, he's a little, statistically, they might be similar, but I just see him and Caicedo a little different to how I see Gravenberch. But listen, sometimes players can shock you. Maybe he's going to play McAllister as a DM a little bit more. You never know. I'm joking, but I know you guys don't want to see that. But do you want to see? Listen, you're still £70 million available based on what you bid for Caicedo. Like, do you want to see more tomorrow? Is it still a centre back that's needed? Right back, another attack? Like, what else do you want to see done tomorrow by Liverpool?
We can hope that we get another player. I mean, like, it's all hope now. As in, like, it's very unlikely that something's going to happen. But look, I've been hearing rumors about Nketiah. Apparently, we're going to have a look at him and make a last-minute bid for him. And I think that's pretty much it. I think that if there is going to be a signing, it's most likely going to be a centre-back, because we've already gotten rid of Nat Phillips, our homegrown centre-back, and we're looking, and Virgil van Dijk is suspended. And we know the injury problems that both Konate and Gomez respectively have. So a centre-back is the most likely option for me. Whether it gets done and whether any club will be willing to part with any of their centre-backs is a different story. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens.
How about yourself, Jay?
This ownership, this club, this is just run. It's just, you talk about Glazonomics. I don't know if Glazonomics is that much better from FSG-nomics, to be fair. We've shown our hand. Everyone knows we've got minimum 111 million to go and spend. We spent what, 40 million of, well, less, about 30 million of that, because it was in pounds. 35 million of that. Still got a massive chunk left. We've still got a massive chunk left to go and spend. So in that regard, I'm like, yeah, well, you better get a midfielder, like a DM in, and you better get a centre back in as well. If Gravenberch isn't that DM, or Klopp's not trying to convert him into that DM. I don't know whether Liverpool are going to do it though. James Pearce has just come out saying, oh, you know, Liverpool aren't looking to make this deal. Like, this is probably going to be the last signing. And if it is, it's just the same old story. We're left short yet again in the window. A window where we could have really capitalized and been strong on all fronts. If the season doesn't go as planned, if Liverpool falls short in any capacity for whatever target it is that Liverpool or fans have for Liverpool, then we're gonna look back at this period and be like, oh yeah, well, we might have been in a better situation had we not had X centre back or X DM. So,
do you know what's interesting? And I know Premier League club to Premier League club are normally more expensive, but the fact that João Paulinho is probably going to go to Bayern Munich wouldn't, like, and this is not, again, not, I think Gravenberch is excellent, But wouldn't it have been more sensible to not buy Gravenberch and stick an £80 million bid in for Paulinho, who is just sensational? He is absolutely phenomenal.
Terry,
I don't know how old he is. I don't know how old he is.
28, but you just answered it right there. It's smart. It's smart that we could go and do that. We're Liverpool, man. We don't act smart in the transfer window. We act like idiots.
Did you get where I'm coming from? Like, because this is where like FSG show themselves, and the Glazers do it as well. But I'm talking about your club for a minute, and this is what sometimes Liverpool fans say I'm anti-Liverpool, but I'm just being honest. You didn't get Jude, and the reason you gave is because you didn't have the money to spend. We now kind of know that's a little bit of a lie based on what you have spent, plus the bids you put in for Lavia and Caicedo, right? You've bid and spent so much money on your midfield, you theoretically could have afforded Jude Bellingham. You then inquire about Paulinho back. I swear it was like June time. You looked at him and were told it's 80 million, so you walked away too expensive. But you dropped 70 million euros, I understand, on Slobberslide, which looks like it could be good business. You bid 60 million for Lavia, 110 million for Caicedo, and then you end up getting Gravenberch, who some people think is a little similar in terms of the areas he likes, the players, as McAllister and Slobberslide. And now Paulinho is going to go and join Munich, who are only able to buy him because you're buying Gravenberch. Sometimes I look at that and look, it's not me saying you shouldn't have Gravenberch. What you really should do is Liverpool, with the money you have, is get Gravenberch and buy Paulinho. Like, if you did that, your midfield rebuild is beyond complete. You get to a point then where it's like, shit, who starts? And that's where you want to be. And like, again, some Liverpool fans will say I'm being anti-Liverpool and I'm being negative. I'm just asking the questions because you've shown your ability to spend that amount, but then you haven't gone and got players who you initially went for that are cheaper than Caicedo. And maybe it's because he's 28. You don't want to spend that much on a 28-year-old. There's no sell-on value. But remember, if that means there's no sell-on value, watch out tomorrow if those Saudis put that big bid in for Mo Salah. Because honestly, like, again, I'm just, and I'm not even trying to be anti-Liverpool. I'm just saying, like, does that concern you at all, boys?
I'll let you go.
Yeah, I mean, it does. It's funny because when Liverpool signed Endo, Klopp's come out and said, I've always been an admirer of Endo, and I had to beg the owners because that's against our policy. We don't sign players over this age. So he's obviously a 30-year-old DM. So we managed to sign him, and I'm really, really happy. But we weren't willing to do that for a Painho. And I don't think Liverpool think Painho makes the difference for Liverpool, or a DM makes that much of a difference for Liverpool. Hence why we don't go for him. And I think, but that then confuses me because then we bid 110 million for Caicedo. And does Caicedo make that much? That does the difference that Caicedo makes to Liverpool? Is that so much greater than the difference that Painho would make?
It comes down to
success. I don't know.
It comes down to the club of what they think is valuable, and that goes back to the data staff and Billy Hogan, the CEO, who make the decisions. Because at the end of the day, Jurgen Klopp will say, "This player, I want this player, this player, this player," or the board will come up with some couple of players, but it comes down to the value in the market. If Liverpool don't see that as good value, they won't pursue it, which is a bit poor because we are a Liverpool Football Club. We've won a Premier League. We've won Champions Leagues. If we're going to go in for a player, that the market value of that player will rise exponentially because it's Liverpool coming in for them. That's how simple it is.
And I get that. But you know what's funny? I started calling this out with Liverpool about 3 years ago and said, when I would say 90% of Liverpool fans defended not spending too much money on players because the price, we'll go out and we'll buy a cheaper, younger player and it'll work. And all I said to them is this: but you will then drop off and then go for a rebuild period before winning titles again. If you operate in the same way as you built your original squad, the drop off happens and it takes time to get back to the top again. Because unless you buy the better players where you have to play a premium for and stay at the top. And that's where my club goes wrong as well. And we have done now for years. We were doing it at the back end of Fergie, but he was so great. He kept our heads above water. The reason I called this out is because there were similarities with how my club operates. And for me, I don't think there's anything wrong. I know that the younger generation don't like spending lots of money on players that are over the age of 28. But if you look at Paulinho, there's nothing about him that doesn't say you're not going to get 4 or 5 years out of him. And say you get 4 years out of him and you spent 80 million. He's worth 20 million pounds a year in terms of what it would cost to buy someone of that quality. So it's more than worth it. There's a comment here I want to put up, though, that says reports coming out of Liverpool is that they are not looking for a number 6 as they are planning to play 2 box-to-box midfielders. So does that mean Endo's going to be your starting 6 or will it be Gravenberch? What do you boys think?
It sounds as though Gravenberch and McAllister will be playing together.
Yeah. That I think Endo's come in, if I'm being honest, Endo's come in to be a DM when we need a DM, to be a steady Eddie, but also be cover at centre back.
The Millie role.
Funny how you're calling Endo a steady Eddie, but Liverpool fans use that word to describe Cass. It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's mad. It's mad.
But in fairness, again, I was defending Liverpool on this as well when it comes to Endo. I still think you would have signed someone like Endo.
100%.
100%.
Sometimes it's when the order of which things happen can make people angry. How we've gone from Caicedo to Endo. You probably had to get Endo done then, though, because of timings and everything else. And it's just
100%. I 100% believe that if we signed either Lavia or Caicedo, Endo would have come as well. It was like a couple of years ago we signed Thiago and then Jota came in the day after. It's something along the lines of that. I think that was the plan, but clearly it didn't work out.
Elmin here says, I don't know why you keep complaining about the Glazers when Salah is the owner.
Do you what's mad though? The whole Salah situation, yeah. I've got a conspiracy theory. Not a conspiracy theory, but it's like a worst case scenario type of situation.
Go on.
If Salah have Liverpool signed Gravenberch to play as an 8 because they think Salah may leave and they want Szoboszlai to play on the wing. He has done for club and country.
Bro. Listen, I look as a Premier League fan, I don't want Mo Salah leaving. I don't like our best players leaving the league. I've always said that. As a Man United fan, I'm desperate to see the back of him because he's ridiculous. And Liverpool fans know how much I rate him. I think he's your greatest ever Premier League player. And I think if he keeps doing what he's doing for another 2 or 3 years here in England and wins some more big trophies, he goes into GOAT conversations. I think he's that good. At the same time, the financial package he's been offered, if you can get their offer up from 150 million to 160, 170, there comes a point where the club might need to look at it and say, what that money generates and what we can invest it in could be better than keeping Salah and having his goals for a year or two. Because you're not winning the league this year. I don't think any Liverpool fan... I did see Craig from the Anfield Agenda say Gravenberch puts you into the title race. I don't think you will win the league still this year. I think you'll top 4, definitely. But they might look at it and go, can we get top 4 without him? As you say, Szoboszlai goes on the right. Top 5 as well, sorry. Equally, listen, I'm just throwing this out there. Go and buy a right back and put Trent up. Put Trent there. That's where Trent plays anyway. Do you know what I mean? And then he has no defensive mishaps anymore because he's up the top. I personally, I don't think it will happen. But I spoke to a few journalists. I put it in the group chat earlier, and one of them's, I'm not allowed to say who he is because he doesn't want this getting out, but he is convinced that Salah's going to go. He is absolutely convinced. But I just can't see FSG saying no. Salah really wants to leave. What he also told me was interesting is that Salah and Klopp respect each other, but they're not particularly close. There's no love lost between the two of them, which is interesting. So, and look, he said, don't say anything. Just said it on air. But he's like, don't say who told you. He goes, because I'm not allowed to release this yet. But he's convinced. I'm not as convinced as him. But are you a little worried about that? Not even tomorrow, because their window's open for another week or so. It's if it comes after. Imagine in the international break, Salah leaves, boys.
The more you manifest it, the more I'm worried.
Do you know what it is? From a PR perspective, it will be crazy. But that's why I'm saying, and I don't want this to happen at all. I don't want this to happen. But have Liverpool signed another 8? Because Endo is still the 6. But we're putting Gravenberch in the 8 and Szoboszlai goes out on the wing.
Bro, it could happen. But I will say this about your club as well. If Salah does leave, I cannot wait to see the James Pearces and the others, plus all the top reds online. I can't wait to see how they spin it into a positive. Because it will be, that's the thing, it will be spun into the biggest positive PR story in history. Because I will say this about Liverpool fans, you man are the best at it. There is, honestly, I don't understand why during COVID, Boris Johnson didn't employ Liverpool journalists to be his PR people. I know they hate the Tories, but money talks, right? Because they spin the best stories ever. ever. And it's amazing. I'm actually jealous of it. My club can't do it for shit. We are so bad at making a bad thing look good. You man can do you. Liverpool are the first people in human history to genuinely polish a turd and make it look good. Do you know what I'm saying? You guys do a great job. You do a great job.
It's true, man. FSG have the best PR. Not even FSG, the entire club has the best PRs, and they turned the whole Henderson situation into a bad thing for him rather than the entire club. They turned Fabinho leaving as a
and you've been doing it since before Klopp. Hang on, Raheem Sterling left before Klopp arrived, right?
And he did.
What you lot did. So when Raheem Sterling left to go to City, it was done as you're going to a less prestigious club only for money and not to win anything. Deep that, right? But Sterling at the time was like, no, I think what this club's trying to build is something extra special. And I know he wasn't there for the treble, but look what else he did there. But you guys spun that to a point where Raheem Sterling was booed by no one that had anything to do with Liverpool. He was getting booed by rival fans of all clubs because of your PR. That's how good you man are at it. It's unbelievable how good you are.
Influence, it's the influence, man. Biggest club in England. That's the influence. Do you know what I mean? We make agendas and people run with it. That's just it, man.
Yeah. The funny thing about the Sterling one is that he also came out and said, "Oh, if Klopp was there, I would have stayed." And we still gave him shit for it. We still afterwards, you just gave him so much shit. And it's what Liverpool do best, man. The PR and the way they spin things to make it a positive, even though it's a really crappy thing.
No,
it's an art. It's an art.
I hear you. I do hear you. But Terry Gravenberch landed at Liverpool's perch. Glazers in. It's a good joke, that, mate. Well done. Well, honestly, how long did that take you to think of? There we go. Listen, I want to say congratulations to Liverpool. He's on a brilliant player tonight. Loads of videos coming tomorrow. It's transfer deadline day. We're very, very busy. Sam is on. Got a long, extended version of the Top 6 show from 6 o'clock as well. So make sure you're all tuning in. People, please hit the like button before you leave. Make sure you're subscribing to The Terrace as well. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again soon. Peace.